Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty fascinating, an ancient system that literally connects the stars to your personal health. We're talking about medical astrology.
So let's just jump right in with a big question, right? What if? What if your birth chart, that snapshot of the sky when you were born, actually holds the secrets to your well-being? Kind of like a personalized roadmap to your body's inherent strengths and potential weaknesses.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll talk about the big idea, the cosmic connection. Then we'll get into the building blocks of astrology. After that, we'll see how it all maps onto your body, look at the planet's roles in your health, and finally touch on how you'd actually read a health chart. Let's get into it. All right, first up, the cosmic connection. Let's define what we're even talking about when we say medical astrology. So, at its heart, this is all built on the ancient idea of as above, so below. It's this beautiful concept that the human body is like a mini universe, a microcosm of the cosmos. The core belief here is that the planets, called grahas, and the zodiac signs, or rashis, basically map onto our anatomy, our physiology, and even our potential health issues. Now, to understand this cosmic map, you've got to learn its language, right? So let's get into the building blocks of how this all works. The whole system really rests on three main pillars: the planets, known as grahas, the zodiac signs, or rashis, and the houses, which are called bhavas. You can almost think of them as the nouns, the adjectives, and the different settings that come together to tell a story about your health. And this is where it gets really interesting. Each planet isn't just a big rock in space. It's given these specific qualities. We're talking gender, an element, what they call a tattva, and a fundamental quality, or guna. So you see, the sun is male, fiery, and has this sattva, or pure quality. The moon, on the other hand, is female and watery. It's this combination of traits that's absolutely crucial for interpretation. Okay, so we have all these abstract ideas, planets, signs, elements. But how does that connect to us, to our actual physical bodies? Well, that's where the concept of the cosmic man comes into play. This idea is called Kala Purusha, which you can translate as the cosmic man. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a concept where the 12 zodiac signs are mapped right onto the human body, starting from the head and going all the way down to the feet. It's literally a celestial blueprint of you. And check this out, it's a super organized system. The first rashi, or sign, rules the head. The second, your mouth, your teeth, your tongue. The third covers your shoulders and arms, and it just keeps going right down the body until you get to the 12th and final sign, which governs the feet, a full head-to-toe map. But it doesn't just stop with anatomy, which is what's so cool about this. The system also weaves in Ayurveda's concept of the three fundamental energies, the tree doshas. So it's not just about mapping body parts, it's about connecting to your body's entire energetic system. And here you can see how it works. Each of the tree doshas is linked to certain planets. So Vata, which is all about air and ether, is ruled by Saturn. Pitta, that fiery, intense energy, is governed by the Sun and Mars. Makes a lot of sense, right? And Kapha, which is more earthy and watery, gets its influence from the Moon, Jupiter, and Venus. It just adds this whole other layer of depth to everything. Okay, now let's get to the juicy part, how specific planets can act as indicators for potential health challenges, or rogas as they're called. Let's start with the big one, the Sun, or Ravi. It's called the Arogya Karaka, which basically means it's the indicator of health itself. A well-placed sun in your chart suggests good vitality, a strong constitution. But if it's afflicted or in a tough spot astrologically, it might point to some specific vulnerabilities. So what kind of issues are we talking about? Well, think about what the sun represents: our core, our heart, our vitality. So a challenged sun could point to things like headaches, heart complaints, issues with your bones and skeletal structure, general weakness, or even eye problems. Okay, next up is the moon, or Chandra. This one is called the Manokaraka, the indicator of the mind. So we're talking about our mental state, our emotions, and also all the fluids that flow within our body. So it makes sense then that if the moon is having a tough time in a chart, it might signal a tendency toward things like mental illness or manasika roga, and even physical things like anemia, gynecological issues, and sensitivities to food and water. And then there's Saturn, or Shani. This one's a heavy hitter. It's the Ayusha Karaka, the indicator of longevity. Saturn is all about time, structure, and limitation.
So when it comes to health, its influence often points towards those long-term, chronic conditions, especially things that come with age or involve persistent pain.
Yeah, Saturn's signature is really about things that stick around. We're talking chronic pains, or vata rogas, joint pains like arthritis, a general sense of weakness, or even diseases that are brought on by cold. It's all about those persistent, nagging conditions.
Okay, so we've got planets, signs, houses, doshas. How on earth do you put it all together? Let's quickly look at some of the key principles for actually reading a health chart.
One of the first things you look at are what are called the challenging houses. In medical astrology, the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are the big ones to watch. The 6th house is about disease in general. The 8th house points to more chronic long-term stuff. And the 12th, that's about loss and even hospitalization. So if you've got planets hanging out in these houses, it's like a little flag marking potential areas of vulnerability. When someone is actually analyzing a chart for health, it's a really systematic approach. You always start by looking at the foundational points of the chart to see where the strengths lie.
There are basically 3 key things to look at right off the bat. First, you check the ascendant, or the lagna. That's the first house, and it represents the physical body, so you're gauging its strength. Second, you got to assess the moon, the chandra, to understand the state of the mind and overall well-being. And third, you immediately scan for any planets in those challenging houses we just talked about, the 6th, 8th, and 12th, because those are your potential vulnerability zones.
So at the end of the day, what is this? An ancient map to wellness? Or is it more of a mirror, reflecting our own inner world? Whatever you believe, medical astrology really does invite us to just look up, to look at the stars, and maybe, just maybe, understand ourselves a little bit better down here.